We are the brave, we are the bold. We can be anything, anything, anything. We are the light, we light the dark. We can do everything, everything, everything. So hold on, don't stop. There's so much in you. We are the brave. We are the free. We have the power to be stronger if we want it. You and me.
Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Essie Dikpe, and as always, this is Serenity with Essay. Now, if you have seen my first ever video on this channel, you would remember that I did mention that at some point I would introduce professionals onto the program who would really support me to explore our everyday challenges, our everyday experiences, in the hope that we begin to learn how to make the necessary steps towards living a fully functional life. Today, I'm very excited to be introducing one of such professionals on today's episode. We have today with us Lillian. Lillian is joining us from Belgium. Lillian is a researcher on nonviolence and peace at the Research Unit of Theological and Comparative Ethics at the Catholic University of Leuven in Belgium. Thank you so much, Lillian, for joining us on Serenity with Essay.
Thank you, Essie, for inviting me to participate in this program. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for taking our time from your busy schedule to join us today. Now, before I let you take over, I'm just going to introduce today's topic. Today on Serenity with Essay, we're going to be exploring the issue of anger. We're going to be talking about the relationship between anger and our mental and physical well-being. Anger, as most of us may already know, is a secondary emotion and a valid one at that. Let me just also quickly add here that anger in itself is not a bad emotion. What is of concern is when anger begins to affect our behavior in a negative way. Now, some psychologists like Marsha Rosenberg have argued that the core of all anger is a need that is not being fulfilled. Now I'm going to hand you over to Lillian, who would explore Rosenberg's stance for us so that our viewers at home will have a better understanding of how unmet need triggers anger. Over to you, Lillian.
Thank you once again, Essie, for giving me the opportunity to share this knowledge with everyone. Just as you said, that Rosenberg argued that anger is as a result of unmet needs. Mm-hmm. We as human beings express our needs. We express ourselves according to our needs. Whatsoever we do are attempts to meet needs, whether you are eating, drinking, traveling, sitting, they are all attempts to meet one need or the other. Mm-hmm. So people get angry when their needs are not met. Mm-hmm. It depends on what need is at stake at the moment. Mm. What is making you angry? It is the need that is not met. When one is triggered, it's either there is a situation that is triggering you, or somebody else is triggering you. Mm-hmm. But nobody is actually the cause of your anger. It is your unmet needs. So how do you handle it? Do you react or do you respond? You can actually choose to remain in anger, or you choose to get out of it. So Marsha Rosenberg suggested 4 steps one can use to engage constructively with anger. These 4 steps are observation, feelings, needs, and requests. Observation, you try to look, you connect first of all with yourself by taking a deep breath and try to explore what actually happened that triggered this anger. Once you are able to reflect on the situation, you engage with the feeling, which is the anger. This situation that happens has upset you, it has really triggered you, and you are feeling angry, which is the second step, exploring the feelings. Then the third step now is need. What is the need behind this anger? Why am I angry? Could it be that my need for fairness is not met? Or is it about my need for respect, or need for inclusion, need for acceptance, need for
love?
Need for love.
It could even be, physical needs, like need for financial breakthrough.
Exactly. Needs are really many. They are many. So once you are able to identify the particular need that is not met, you look for strategies. Needs and strategies go hand in hand. People actually become violent when they are angry just because of the particular strategy they choose to meet their needs. There are many strategies for meeting a particular need, but choose a positive strategy that can lead you to peace, that can actually help you to relieve that, and that will relieve you from that feeling of anger. Once you are able to identify a particular strategy that will support you, is either you make a request of yourself of what to do so as to be able to overcome the anger. If it is something you can do on your own, you do it. But if you need the support of another person, you make a request of that person, not just a demand. You ask the person, would you be willing to support me in so and so way? So through that, you are asking the other person to contribute to your needs, to help you to meet your needs. Then Rosenberg, in this situation, says that when people act, they are saying 2 things. Please help me to meet my needs, and thank you for helping me to meet my needs.
Lilia, there are some people who may be listening to us this evening and wondering, what if my anger is not triggered by a particular person? What if my anger is triggered by a situation or an event? How would I respond to that?
You still go back to the 4 steps, reflect on the situation, which is the observation. Oh, what happens? Then once you're able to look at what happened, you go back to the feeling, which is the anger. Then from there, you try to find out, why am I angry? Which will now help you to identify the need that is not met. Once you are able to identify, you look for strategy that will support you in meeting that need. Let's say, for instance, you fail an exam, and you discover that, oh, your need for success is not met. What strategy can you use to meet your need? Is to go back and study hard.
Of course.
If you study and you do not understand, either you make a request of another person to support you, to explain to you. So through that, you have been able to engage with that situation in order to meet your need, instead of remaining in anger that will lead you to depression, shame, guilt, and so
stress. Yes,
yeah.
And even trauma. Yeah. Thank you for that explanation, Millennia. What I got from that is that whilst it's okay to be angry, we have a responsibility to choose, to choose how we respond to that anger. I liken it, anger is an emotion, and I liken that to sadness, for instance. When we are sad, or when I'm sad, if I'm using myself as an example, when I'm sad, I would not necessarily go around looking miserable. I don't have to necessarily act upon my sadness. And I think that's the same thing with anger. You don't necessarily have to act upon anger, particularly, acting upon anger in a violent way. Thank you so much for explaining that to us. And I'm just going to do a quick recap before we end today's episode. Remember, we're talking about anger, and we're saying that anger is a secondary emotion, and it's okay to be angry, but we shouldn't necessarily respond to anger in a violent way, thereby impacting our mental health in the process. Also remember that we mentioned some triggers to anger, and one of it was stress. So I'm just going to quickly highlight some points that we can consider in managing stress that has the potential to lead to anger. Number one, remember that stress is a state of the mind, and if left unchecked, it can lead to physical and mental illness. Number two, learn to declutter. This is very, very, very important. I still have clothes that I haven't worn for 3 years, and I have no idea what I'm doing with those clothes. Learn to declutter, physical decluttering and mental decluttering as well. Number three, prioritize your needs. Learn to prioritize your needs. Be able to identify what is important, what is urgent, what is not important, and what is not urgent. Practice deep breathing techniques. This is also very important. I apply this in my counseling practice, where I invite the clients to take a deep breath and just really focus on what is important to them in the moment. Number four, you can also look for a trustworthy friend to talk to, or you can employ the services of a counselor who will support you to explore your unmet needs and reduce your anger. I think this is where we're going to be ending today's episode. Well, thank you so much, Linnea, for joining us all the way from Belgium. We do hope to see you again soon. And to our viewers at home, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Remember to like this video, share with your family and friends, and subscribe as well. Until I see you next time, you've been watching Serenity with SA. Take care.